OPEX, what's up? All right, let's go through Noella. I need to finish this final as I keep pushing it off. Okay, so real quick, we are going to, I'm going to help flow through the long term plan, first short term plan, and then why I prescribed what I did, both lifestyle and exercise, and then additional notes and noticings that I had with her. So I have been coaching her still consistently. She turned into a client of mine. And before she came on, we knew she had some knee issues. She had a torn ACL prior, but now in the assessment, we saw some things with her. She had some anterior tilting issues with her hips that we had to work through, and then we did a lot of tempo work and some unilateral work. I talked to Michael Ban, who's a mentor of mine, afterwards, and he suggested staying away from machines and really doing tempo, continuing to do tempo work, both bilateral and unilateral. But for the first cycle, I did a lot of unilateral work. So I did some FME tests. So on top of this one, which we've gone through already, right? I wanted to see her side plank. She's super strong. She held 2 minutes on each side plank. Front plank was easy. She hit 25 on her dumbbell press, which was pretty good. And then dumbbell Romanian deadlifts, right? A little hesitant here. So she stayed at 40s. And then rear foot elevated split squat, right? She did 40, which is not bad for now knowing that she had an ACL tear. She had no pain in it, going at a really good tempo. A tad bit discomfort, but nothing that like held her back. Right. And then she had pretty good power raise and external rotation. So she's fairly fit. She's a shorter person. She's around 5'3", 5'4", and not very big, not big person, but she rode 5K in 23 minutes. So not, games athlete, but she's also not like she's fit. She did 21 push-ups on her first set, which I told her to record, which was pretty good to me. Pull-ups were weak. She could only hit 2. So we made some really good progress, which you'll see. And then walking lunges, she hit 20 steps. Strict dip with the 35s. She did 5 on the rings. All right. So some stability, but she passed getting 5, but it was, they were challenging. So yeah, she did really well. She had 82 on her air bike. So again, that's a pretty good, number for her. So what I did was, she loves training. She's been working out 5 days a week for a long time. I did her nutritional logs, and we saw that her protein was low, right? She eats a really clean micronutrient diet, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, good starches, but just not eating enough. So you'll see in the prescription there I did. But before I get to that, I did a week 1. We did cyclist goblet squats with tempo, right? 3, 1, 1, 1 at 8 reps, 65 pounds. She went heavy. And then we did cluster pull-ups, 1, 1, 1, 1 with 12-second rest between. All right. I think looking forward now, I think I have a bias with my training with a lot of female clients that like to go fast. So I think I would have made that more like 15 to 20 seconds of rest in between. Although she seemed to do okay with it, but that would be a critique I have of myself. Single arm dumbbell bench press. So we did push and hinge together, just for grip. So she did 30s, and then for her presses, which were pretty solid. And then she did just the bar here. She was trying to get used to the movement. And you'll see we progressed. And then I give her a little Metcon at the end with core and cardio. So 21:59 cal row, and then V-ups right into 9, 15, 21 row or pike ups, tuck ups. All right. So that's day 1. I really gave her, so to simplify this so you don't take forever, I really just gave her full body workouts every day. So I did another squat here as an intensive. I did on Tuesdays and on Fridays make a workout, which would be prepping her a little bit more in the warm up for that, and then going a little bit more intent. But I really did keep, a good, solid B1, B2 superset shoulder elevated single leg dumbbell hip thrusts, right? So we're going after some glute and hamstring activation, shoulder elevated glute bridge dumbbell press. Honestly, I would have probably started her out week one, just doing more tempo here and no dumbbell, but I knew she was a pretty strong athlete, so I didn't feel terrible giving her that. And then just because she was already set up in that position, I just wanted to keep working glutes and hamstrings. So I did shoulder elevated glute bridge dumbbell press, just thinking of the functionality of the setup in her gym. And then we did single arm pull and we did core chops. So a little bit more pulling. And then I gave her MAP 8 work here. So 15-minute AMRAP, 8 alternating walking lunges, push-ups, swings, and row. And then I had her record each lap so I could see if she could kind of hold. So I coached her through this a little bit, that I wanted her to be closer to holding 255 as her average, so she wasn't all over the place. And she got really good once we kind of coached through holding kind of aerobic paces well. Then, Wednesday, 1 1/4 dumbbell bench press. So you got push, hinge, and you got pull. So this is where I screwed up. So as I was speeding through this, I didn't catch it for the first 3 weeks. This is kind of embarrassing, but I gave her 2 of the same movements. Tall kneeling, single arm cable lat pull down both days. She was a really good sport about it and just did it. But I messed that up, and that was actually supposed to be a 3-point row. So I wanted to still do a single. So I would have fixed that too. That's just me timing myself, trying to go really fast and not being as efficient as I should have been. Did the dumbbell RNT split squat. Again, being more of a rookie coach, I just thought that would be helpful for her. And it could be like that she was fighting her knee a little bit, but I wish I had given her more RNT deadlifts to work on that anterior tilt. And it's also why I gave her a lot of hip thrust with that. But I should have just had her do more tempo here, slower, lighter, and not RNTs. And then 15-minute bike interval, right? So every 3 minutes, get off and complete some core work. So again, I stuck to the whole cardio core work at the end as a way of just hitting full body. And then I really wanted to start to do a row progression all the way from the 5K to 30 minutes twice with 10-minute rests she found that the row really hurt her. So I switched on week 3. That's after assessment, week 3, to bike, which was much more comfortable for her. So we retested 15K erg bike and then started progressing off of that. Over here, I would have replaced the Smith machine hack squat to just like a kettlebell foam roll hack squat, or even just a barbell back squat with the same tempo, 3, 2, 1, 1. I liked the tempo, but I didn't like that I did that. I did like single leg hamstring curl for her. I probably would have done 2, just so like that leg that's really hurting could get some support from the other leg and still feel like we're getting some hamstring work. A little less unilateral there, but I think I'm nitpicking myself a little bit here, but I'll get your feedback. And then, just kept good balanced patterns there. I had a check-in day with her every Sunday, just so she can give me an update on basically how she's feeling, how her sleep's going, all those types of things. And then we just progressed this by volume each week. So you can see last week was 8 reps. This week's 10. Then I do 2, 1, 1, 1 on the clusters all the way down. So, 3 sets of 10. I switch up the movement, make it a little bit more difficult. She's got same reps now, but front rack kettlebell cyclist squat. So instead of goblets, front rack. So my progression was 8 reps, 10 reps, same pattern, but more challenging load or movement. And then up the reps here on the pull-ups, 2, 2, 1, 1. And just progress that. And then the Metcon, I just got creative, but kept the theme of just kind of a cardio, MAP 8 here, cardio and core work as we went through. All right. Her long-term plan, let me move this over here. I don't know why this didn't show up. I have this written into the notes in the long-term plan, but I'll show you in a second. But overall with strength, build muscle, learning to eat quality fueling. So prioritize, we're going to knee flexion, extension, stability, accumulate all full body weight 90% of the year. And plan is really just a lot of mechanical tension, time under tension, volume the first 6 months, map 9 through 7, being 6 to 8 weeks, 8 weeks each, depending on how she progresses. And then focus will be on rowing, biking, and some mixed works. She has the strength and cardio prerequisite to express mixed work. So I had November was a 6 week cycle, which is this short term cycle here. Time and tension, unilateral leg work, and a lot of functional bodybuilding with map 9 row mixed. And as you saw, I did some map 8 at the end of Tuesdays. So and then January to March, I had 8 week accumulation of volume, full body, map 8 row mixed, and add sleds and gymnastics. And then we would start map 7 towards the end of March. And then we would go into May with a 4 week intensification. I'm sorry, March to April, I skipped, with an 8 week accumulation, volume, full body, map 7 row mixed gymnastics and carries. And then perfect, we get into like map 6 for an intensification. It's a little bit more challenging aerobic. And we do the big 4. We're going to do deadlift, squat, bench, weighted pull-ups. Now I planned this with the idea that her ACL was not torn. So probably might make some changes there based on where she's at. But when I planned this from the first month, that was what I looked at. Probably going forward, I probably wouldn't change much. I think by the time April comes, we build her there. She can start lifting probably some heavier loads as her surgery is in like a couple weeks from now. So she should start progressing as she comes out of that. I would imagine in the next 4 months, she'll be able to start lifting heavy again. All right, June and July, 6 week accumulation, very similar. We're going to go map 6, row mixed, and then begin to add in map 5 towards the end. July to August, I have an 8 week accumulation, volume, full body, map 9, mixed and focus, bike, sled, ski. And then September, October, we're going to go AB weeks. So that just means I'm going to alternate so that it's 4 weeks of one, 4 weeks of the other, but they're going to be similar patterns, different movements. I find that a lot of clients I work with that struggle with getting bored. I know that we're not into the entertaining, but there is a sense of they have to enjoy it. And so keeping the principles of the same patterns and same structure, but having an AB week just makes it a little bit more less redundant for them and keeps them engaged with more intensity, I think. All right, so volume, full body, map 8, mixed and focus with bike, sled, and ski. And then November 4 week intensification. And then we retest our FME tests that we did at the beginning of the year and some of our big 4 tests that week from back in May. So in the 5K row, FME, big 4. So that was going to be like my year plan. That's my long-term plan. I kind of went over some of the short. For some reason, when I click on this, cancel. When I click on this to have it show us, it shows what I put in for, we need to work on some ASLR variations because of her anterior tilt, some of that hamstring tightness, especially around her ACL, just trying to loosen that up. And then stiff leg bend exercises, lower body mobility. But it didn't add in my notes in here. So they are there. The short-term plan, let me go back to planning periodization. My week to week, I have it logged in there. Let's see if I can pull it up in the actual files here. Preview. This should take us to it. All right, so it's accumulation, right? Cycle notes. Full body resistance, bilateral squat and hinge work, and then monitor body fat was just kind of our big thing. She's very low body fat. That was a big part of it. We were going to stay in map 8 and some map 9 with rowing was the original plan. And then down here we had for our daily plan FBB 1. And then I have full body building and map 8 work on Tuesday, and then full body building 3. And then map 8 row and intervals, and then full body 4, just day 4. So she would really do 4 days of resistance training and one long aerobic day that's purely aerobic on Thursday, sustain. And then Tuesday she'd have a short 15-minute map 8, non-repeatable, but just kind of I wanted to see times being consistent of lap work. So I wanted to see if she could hold steady pace at like 70 to 80% there. So um, good. I think I tackled everything that it required of me. Does it any additional notes? Lifestyle exercise. Let's go hit that real quick. So I did. So I did want to talk a little bit about the lifestyle. So she eats her food very quickly, right? So we did want to talk about chewing her food because she was having a lot of digestive issues in the consult, and so she was not regular, and she also just had some like gastro issues. So we just talked about chewing. She had actually never heard that before, and so one of her prescriptions was food hygiene. I wanted her to try to chew 20, 30 times before, and the nutrition, I needed her to get 4 to 5 palm sizes of protein or 138 grams. I gave her the option of playing around with if she wanted to track it with a fitness app or if she wanted to just eye up. I gave her a precision nutrition prescription of 4 to 5 palm sizes of protein a day. Aim for 5, no less than 4 was the idea. All right. So we did this in my notes. In our consultation, she wasn't getting more than maybe 3 palms, and so we were trying to add an extra 1 to 2 servings there. And then overall, she wasn't eating enough, like she was eating pretty light, and so we wanted to ask her to just continue to make the quantity higher. But her quality food logs were actually very, very good that she sent me. So, all right.